Did I get it?
Yes, I thought I was on there.
We're ready to go, John. Greg,
Yes, I believe we're ready to go.
Charlie, you want to call the meeting to order?
I'll call a meeting to order, and I would like to have a roll call vote, or not a roll call vote, but a roll call of the
Mr.
board.
Kelly,
Here.
Mr. Ofer, Mr. Smith,
Here,
Mr. Voda,
Here.
Mrs. Blake,
Here.
Solicitor Exides,
Here.
Greg Butler,
Here.
and myself, John Snelson, is present. Let me see. Let me just check here real quick. I got a message from Kim that she may be running later, having somebody else from her office, somebody else filling in as the court reporter this evening. Is that person here?
Hey, good evening. Travis here, covering for Kim.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman, you want to go ahead? It's up to you, Mr. Chairman. I'll leave it back to you for the pledge.
all right, we'll call for a pledge of allegiance for those who are present. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
to
United States of America,
America.
to the republic,
Which stands one nation, God, indivisible, liberty, justice.
Justice.
for all. That would be easier with a face-to-face meeting. Sure would.
I agree.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from our March 24th meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor, motion passed.
Right. Okay, it's up to the solicitor to make his spiel right now.
Okay, all applicants or persons offering testimony in support of or in opposition to the scheduled public hearings stand to be sworn. I'm going to swear everybody who has any comments about any of the hearings at once. Okay? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as usual answer to God on the last great day?
Yes.
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 Okay, we can take them in order now.
Okay. To those folks that are here, this could be a long meeting. This is the longest we've had since I've been on the board. And our first one will be zoning hearing board 2103.
Yeah, just don't get right in front of the hive, because they're.
Okay, hi, I'm Laura Nagy. Can you all see me and hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, I'm the first one up and I own the property on 127 Bell Street. And my daughter lives there with her husband, my grandson, and they want to build a small one-room addition onto the house. We filed all of the plans and the, flood surveys and everything with John Snelson. And I don't know if there's anything else you need from me. I also have my son-in-law on the line who can answer any technical questions.
I'm Justin Harmon. I live in the home.
Hey, John, was the property posted?
Yes.
Any comments to it one way or the other?
No.
While you're talking, John, do you want to give us your side of the,
Yeah, basically the property is located in a zone AE floodplain. And under our floodplain ordinance, any new construction, additions, or any type of construction in an identified floodplain requires a variance for the construction. I did look at this. It is in a zone AE. She has provided a elevation certificate the that is included in your packet there. All utilities will be elevated above the base flood elevation. Also, the addition will not meet the requirements of a substantial improvement under the zoning ordinance that would then require the entire structure to be retrofitted to meet the current requirements.
What will this room be used for?
Second bedroom, third bedroom,
Okay, what utilities do you plan on having in that room?
just electrical and heat.
Heat would be what, gas heat,
Yeah, gas heat,
forced air?
forced air.
Okay,
I know where I'm at in the floodplain. I'm like, I think it's 2 feet. So I'm going to elevate all the receptacles up so they're out of the floodplain according to the certificate,
okay.
elevation certificate.
Any others have any questions on the board?
Yeah, relative to, on that comment that was just made, the electrical wiring will come from above or up from below?
It's going to come from above. I mean, it's
Okay.
going to enter the new structure below from the basement,
Mhm.
but I'm going to go up through the ceiling and drop down the wall rather than have everything come up from the bottom.
Reduce the exposure to potential floods as much as possible, I guess, huh?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, the current structure does have a basement that is below the base flood elevation.
Concrete block basement, John? Is that what you got there? Is what I'm looking at?
Yes.
Okay.
John, do I understand you to say that the structure is not substantial enough to require compliance with the floodplain ordinance?
Well, no, it requires compliance. The new construction does, but the project cost and everything and scope of the project does not move the project into the realm of what's known as a substantial improvement under our zoning or under our floodplain ordinance. And a substantial improvement is anything that is done that is 50% of the market value of the structure itself, not the land, just the structure. And the cost estimation of this is below the 50% threshold. If it's 50% or more of the value of the structure alone, then under the floodplain requirements, the entire structure, including the existing structure, would have to be brought up to meet the current floodplain requirements.
I see. And what conditions are being imposed? What is being done to comply with the floodplain ordinance? Anything?
Yes, they did provide an elevation certificate and that there's not going to be any, any enclosed space below it. There'll be no new basement or anything that would be below the base flood elevation. And that all required utilities will also be elevated up from the base flood elevation level.
John, relative to the comment of all utilities, I'm assuming, if I understood it right, by the gentleman who spoke a moment ago, was there is no plumbing in that addition. There is just electricity. And it's
Correct.
it's coming in from the basement, but
Correct.
it's going to, all the lines to the receptacles, et cetera, are being dropped from above.
Correct.
Correct.
I just kind of said utilities as a
I got you.
standard phrase.
Yeah, I got you. I just took it off too quick.
How high is the new structure going to be off the ground?
Between a foot, 2 foot. My property kind of slopes from the front of the back of the house.
The existing structure that's on the house, there's a porch, I believe, looks like. That's going to stay, huh?
Yes, off the side of it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's just a little deck off the side with an awning over top of it.
Yes, sir.
That's gonna stay.
How much did you say the addition would be elevated?
It's gonna be between a foot, 2 foot.
Okay.
It slopes off toward the river, doesn't it, toward the backside?
Yeah, it slopes toward the river
Uh-huh.
and it kind of slopes down towards the driveway also. I'm gonna level out the property a little bit before I start with the concrete pillars.
Mhm.
Do I hear a motion to either accept or not accept?
Everything I hear, everything, seems like it's within reason, so I make a motion that we accept that.
I'll second it.
Would you
Now,
like
this
a roll
is,
call?
before we have it, this is just a variance from the floodplain ordinance, correct?
This is a variance for construction within an identified floodplain.
Okay.
It's not granting a variance from the terms of the floodplain requirements. It's just that a variance is required
To
for,
permit construction.
correct.
Just as a final comment, if I may, I'm assuming it's going to be siding just like the existing building?
Yes,
Gotcha. Okay.
yes, siding and also because the lower portion of the half of the addition is gonna be in the floodplain. My floor, along with the plywood on the bottom, top floor, I'm all using all womanized materials.
I saw that in the run-up. Yes, sir. But okay, I'm sorry, Charlie, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go right ahead. That question hadn't gotten answered.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
You did get a second, I believe, from
Yeah.
James.
Yeah. I second it.
Okay.
Would you like a roll call vote?
Yes, I would like a roll call vote.
Okay, Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Ofer,
Yes,
Mr. Voda,
Yes.
Mrs. Blake,
Yes.
Chairman Smith,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you all
Okay.
very much.
Sure.
Does that mean are we done now?
Well, I'll be in contact with you to get the
Everything
permitting
else?
process
Okay.
started.
But we can drop from the call, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
And just to clarify, the floodplain ordinance must still be complied with. It's just that we've given a variance to construct within the floodplain. That's all.
Correct.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Our next hearing is zoning hearing board 21-04. And that is on 302 Donna Street,
It's Donna Drive.
Donna Drive. Okay, yes, you're right.
Just for the record. We're constructing a family swimming pool in the backyard, 21-foot swimming pool. I mean, pretty much that's all I can really tell you.
I guess the usual questions, John. It's been posted.
Yes, it has, and I have received a comment back on this application. From a Michael and Donna Carney. I'll read the letter they sent. Mr. Snelson, we will be out of town and unable to attend the Zoom meeting for the Denk residents. We do, however, want it to be known that we are in favor of granting the variance.
Okay, the pole in itself is going to infringe 2.5 foot into the easement?
Yeah, there is a stormwater, storm line easement back there.
Is that the only utility that's back there, John?
I believe so, yes.
And it's 15 feet into these, to the property of the gentleman that's looking for the variance.
7.5 foot. on each
7.5.
side of the-
7.5 of his is on his property, the other 7.5 is on
Correct.
his neighbor, huh?
He
Okay.
maybe a, yes.
So it, based on that, he is a couple of feet in, 2.5 feet, I guess, into the easement. Why would,
Yes.
why, is that necessary?
Actually, I am not. I'm pretty far away from, my drawing was just a basic plan of where it was gonna be. It's actually in my yard even further, probably 3 foot further than what it was going to be. So it's in pretty good now.
Why don't you explain that to us a little bit if you would? I don't quite,
I had Mr. Isber come out for the excavating to give me an estimate on where I could do it and have the best slope for my yard. And we came up with it would be better to move the pole closer to my house. So we moved it like at least 3 or 4 feet towards my house further in. So that easement back there with the sewer is, well, it's got to be at least 12 foot, 10 to 12 feet away from where the pole is going to set.
so your
So that-
request, that affects your request for your variance then, does it not?
Well, I'm still within where I said I was going to be within 5 feet of my fence, correct? I'm now going to be about 7 foot from the fence.
What about the distance to the side property line? Is that going to remain the same at 5?
No, it's probably closer to 7 also.
Okay, so it's moved towards the house
That's correct.
and in towards
It's
the center
moved
of the yard.
Closer to my property.
Okay,
You have to talk one at a time, please, Mr. Denk. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
John, could I follow up with you too? I'm trying to stay with you on it. I guess we're changing what our drawing is showing us here. So the side yard variance now is 7 feet instead of 5?
no, the side yard variance now would be 3 feet from the required 10.
Okay, I go along with you. I'm with you, John. Is that correct to the applicant?
Yes.
Okay,
I apologize if there's any, what I was filing for was the variance because I knew that I was putting a structure within 10 feet of my property line. Is that correct, John?
Correct.
Okay, so without having any construction done at all before, having Isber come here and give me any type of idea where I could put the pole and it'd be best set, I set all this paperwork in because that was part of, I spoke with John, that's what he said to do. He said it's, as long as you're within, say where the pole's gonna be, which I took the best guess that I could, which would be 5 foot off my fence each direction. It has since moved 2 feet towards my house and 2 feet away from my neighbor's adjoining property on that's on Parkwind Drive. So yes, I'm closer away from, I didn't move closer to the variance, I moved further away. Not on purpose, but this is just what happened, when I got estimates to do things in the best way to do it.
He
Trust me,
basically- Go ahead. Sorry.
I didn't exactly, I'm gonna take the guy that does construction every day for a living. I'm gonna take his word for it.
okay, so the concern that we were addressing relative to the right of way for the utilities disappears.
Correct.
Hmm.
And the variances change from a dimensional variance of 5 feet to the rear property line and 5 feet to the side property line to a variance request of 3 feet to the rear property line and 3 feet to the side property line from the required 10-foot setback for a swimming pool.
While you're going, John, do you have any other comments on your write-up while you're briefing us?
This is the second one. They're next.
No, that's all I really have.
So that
This is rather simple.
Yeah, it is.
And I read into the, one comment that I received from a neighbor that is in favor of the request.
Okay.
Okay, are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Make a motion, we grant the variance.
I second it.
Okay. Mr.
Roll
Kelly,
call?
Yeah.
you voting yes? Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Ofer,
Yes,
Mr. Voda,
Yes,
Mrs. Blake,
Yes.
Chairman Smith,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you,
Okay,
everyone. Thanks, John, for your help. I appreciate it. Everything you've helped us out with, I appreciate it.
Okay, well, get in touch with me and we can start the actual permit process.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay,
okay, the next hearing is zoning hearing board 21-05. And it's for a garage.
Hello. Can you hear us?
Yep.
yes,
Hi, we wanted to construct a detached garage on our lot in place of a shed that used to be there.
John, do you want to make a comment on the request?
yes, sorry, bear with me here a moment. The applicant is requesting to erect a detached garage on a parcel of land that has no principal structure. That parcel of land is located next to the parcel that contains their home. And due to the size of the garage, it would require additional dimensional variance from the square foot for the requested square footage of 1,800 square feet. The maximum permitted is 750, and the requested height is 18.5 feet, which is over the 15-foot allowance, and a 10-foot dimensional variance to the required front yard setback of 35 feet that I could best describe as the front yard for this property that does not actually sit or border a roadway. There's another parcel between this property and West Newton Road.
posted, John?
Yes.
Any feedback either way?
I had one call from a gentleman just asking questions about it, and I, explained the, the request and everything to him and asked him if he would, gave him all the information that if he would like to join, he's more than welcome to attend the meeting.
Is there any intent by the applicant to join these two pieces of property?
I did advise the applicant that the board has been known to put that condition upon if a variance would be granted.
How large of a piece of property is this?
With both lots combined, it's approximately 5 acres. And we didn't plan on combining because there's really no access to that other lot other than through the lot with the principal structure.
Well, that probably would be the definition of why you'd want to combine them.
I would endorse that, Keith. I think that's a clarification that I'd agree with.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Could I request a 5-minute continuance for a moment, please?
Yes, sir, you may.
Thank you.
But if you can't get to the property.
It's okay. I love us. Come here. Will you sit in Gigi's chair?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
while we're waiting for John to return, could I ask that Rob consider being in a position to give us some guidance once John returns?
yes.
The solicitor, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, well, John's pretty well laid out.
We can wait till John returns, Rob.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to give you a heads up so you could think about it between now and
Okay,
when he returns.
Feet. Our height is 18 feet.
From driveway up to this top of something.
Mhm.
Could I ask a question while we're waiting?
Yeah.
What did we say about whether the lots are going to be combined?
I just said that being the fact that it's landlocked, it would be advisable to combine.
I think the question, Rob, was I asked if there was any intent on combining. I believe the applicant indicated that that was not their intent at the present time.
Okay. Because typically the board has required combination within a year.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, are we ready to continue?
Yes. Thank you.
John, in your absence, we prepared ourselves a little bit. I had a request for the solicitor to the chairman, that the solicitor brief us on his thoughts and recommendations to the board.
Okay, and well, the first thing I mentioned is that typically the board does require as a condition of granting a variance in this situation that the lots be combined within a year. The other points are all dimensional and within the realm of things that the board has granted in the past. The structure would be 1,800 square feet and the permitted size is 750. The height would be 18.5, the permitted size is 15. And there'd be a 25-foot front yard setback and 35 is required. I think I have that right.
$25 to like the property line and then the neighbor's properties in front of that and then the road.
Oh, okay.
There would be a 10-foot dimensional variance for the front yard requirement. The front yard requirement is 35 feet.
How would that fall if the lots were joined?
It would be the same.
It wouldn't affect it. because it's side by side.
My question would be.
Well, it could when it's adjoined, because
Oh.
if you look at the aerial view of this property, it's kind of, when it would be joined as one property, I could clearly define, the line along West Newton Road as the front yard. With it being a single parcel, I have to define something as the front yard. And being
Oh, I see.
consolidated into one property,
Then go to
that could be considered possibly a side yard because it shoots off so far off the side property line. If that's understandable.
What is the garage going to be used for, the building to be used for?
Just storage.
Storage and park cars.
You know, if I read this right, it looks like the only thing you're going to have in it is electric. No plumbing of any type, or maybe I should ask, is there anything other than electric in it?
No plumbing,
Okay.
just electric.
Anybody else on the board have any other questions?
I don't really.
I'm just wondering, would it be an advantage or a disadvantage tax-wise with the properties being combined?
I don't need it.
I don't think it would really change much other than probably receiving one tax bill
Okay.
instead of two. Now, granted, any structure on a property would be assessed, so this property would at some point be reassessed by the county, and that whatever structure's on it would be assessed.
Right. Okay.
Do I hear a motion?
Before I do, could I ask if does the board want to set a condition on combining the lots? I mean, if not, that's fine.
I think that needs to be addressed first, Charlie, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. What's your pleasure?
I think historically in the past, we've put a stipulation, as Rob indicated, that we combine the properties within a year. Rob, is that what it was?
Yes, within a year of the decision date. Which will
That they
get,
have to start the process.
Yeah, it's normally that within a year of the decision date, they must start the application process to combine the lots.
But they can start construction.
With a variance granted, yes.
Right, okay. All right, do I hear a motion for the late discussion?
I'll make the motion.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call vote, John?
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Ofer,
Yes,
Mr. Voda,
Yes.
Mrs. Blake,
Yes.
Chairman Smith,
Yes,
motion granted.
all right.
Thank you.
Now we need a motion for the variance.
Oh, I thought that was the variance.
I think that was the motion for the variance
yeah, it's subject to the condition that we stated.
with conditions, yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
And then John,
Okay.
you'll be in touch.
Yes, I'll be in touch with you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, the next hearing, board 21-06 is for the communication tower and addition.
Yeah, this is an application from Crown Castle for T-Mobile to add additional antennas on an existing communications tower, which under our zoning is addition of the additional antennas is a use by special exception.
Mr. Chairman, could I have John give us his update along with any comments that he might have received?
I've received no comments on this. This property does contain an existing communications tower. And Crown Mobile is requesting to add, I believe it is
Antennas.
2 antennas? I
Three.
believe? 3, okay, 3 new antennas on the tower.
Could I get your name, please, Miss Baldwin?
Sorry, it's Jennifer Baldwin.
Thank you.
Is there any buildings at the bottom of this tower that are going to be impacted by this addition?
No.
So there's no additional structures? Is there any structures there now?
Yes, there is a, wait, I believe there is, hang on. Yes, there's a small,
Shelter.
there is a small shelter or building, enclosed building at the base of the tower for whatever equipment that, services the tower.
Right. Those are typically just prefab shelters and they've been in place for, I don't know how long. And I apologize, I'm not sure whose they are, what customers they are, but typically it's either cabinets or a backup generator that's in there, so.
Or bud panels or anything like that? Would you be planning on putting anything like that in that building?
No.
No, you'll have no impact on that building at all then?
No.
I correct, I'm sorry, there are two shelters below the antenna. And all of this work would actually just be the addition of the antennas on the tower itself.
Mr. Chairman, based on past practices, I recommend or make a motion that we accept this.
Now, by the way, this is clarification. This is under the ordinance, apparently a special exception, not a variance.
Correct.
So as long as they comply with the stated provisions of the special exception, at section 1403.10, then it's legal.
Mr. Chairman, that does not affect my motion. I still make the motion under the same conditions.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Roll call?
Mr. Kelly,
Go ahead.
Yes.
Mr. Ofer,
Yes,
Mr. Voda,
Here. Yes, excuse me.
Mrs. Blake,
Yes.
Chairman Smith.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, did somebody start to say something else?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
Larry, are we incorporating a condition in this, and what is that?
Am I incorporating a condition?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Okay, I thought I heard that it was conditioning. No, okay. Okay.
Okay, motion passed. I'll be in touch, Jennifer, to get some of the stuff for the building permit.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Okay, the next hearing is zoning hearing board 21-07.
Hi, I'm Jason. I'm looking to put an addition onto my existing garage. Can everybody hear me?
Yes. Jason, would you be able to give the board some background for your request for the size and everything for the garage? Because you're basically requesting an addition to a current legal non-conforming garage, in addition to a legal non-conforming garage because of the size of the original garage, correct?
Correct.
You may want to just give the board some details on that, or if the board has any questions.
Any questions? So basically, I want to add an addition onto the garage. I currently have for storage. I have a nice car collection, and I'm trying to get a nice spot for it.
Jason, you're hard to hear. Could you repeat that? This is the court reporter.
Yeah. I have a car collection. I'm currently trying to add on an addition just to have a place to store these cars.
Were you able to hear that, Kim?
I was, thank you.
Okay. Now, Jason, I understand from talking to you that if the variances are granted for the construction of this addition to the garage, that would eliminate some of the trailers that you're using that are next to the garage?
Yes, I currently have 3 enclosed trailers right now that I'm storing these cars in. 2 of the 3 trailers would go away if I get this variance. Just a nice way to clean the place up a little bit, get everything contained in one building.
John, this has been posted, I assume?
Yes.
Any good, bad comments either way, one way or the other?
No, I haven't heard from anybody.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any comments here at the moment.
Okay, how about your briefing on your write-up, John? Do you mind?
Yeah, the applicant requests a dimensional variance to add a 56 by 30 foot, 1,680 square foot, 19-foot high addition to an existing 1,200 square foot garage, bringing the total square footage to 2,880 square feet. The property is located in an R1 rural residential district. There are no conflicts with any of the setback requirements for an accessory structure. A variance would be required for the square footage of the addition and the height of the addition under 602 area and bulk regulations and 1503 special yard requirements.
John, and you're saying the existing garage is legal non-conforming. It predates the ordinance.
I believe, or a variance may have been granted. I haven't been able to locate anything in the files.
Can the applicant give us any information on that?
Yes, I had the okay from Mary Attorney at the time, from blessing of the board to put that up. Got a building firm, I believe his name was Harold.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to repeat that. I did not hear that.
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time getting into you guys, but I had a permission from Mary Carney. She was president of the board at the time, and blessing of the board, and Harold, I believe was the name of the building inspector. He gave me a permit.
Was it a variance at that time?
I don't remember how Mary went and did it. I didn't have a hearing.
That's why I can't find anything on that, or that would be the specific zoning requirements when it was constructed. That's why I'm simply referring to that structure, the existing structure, as a legal non-conforming.
Bob, you've been around. Any guidance for us on this one, Mr. Solicitor?
I can't say that I remember it, But if Mary is involved, then there probably was a variance. I do remember Mary Carney being on the board,
Yes, Mary's actually my next door neighbor.
and she lives on Pineview, if I'm not mistaken.
She is my next door neighbor. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, I know where you are then.
Right or left side of Mary?
Looking at the properties, Mary would be to my right side.
What utilities will be in this building, the additional building?
Electric.
Any guidance from the solicitor to the board, Mr. Chairman?
Well, it's certainly not outside the realm of variances that we've granted. As I've mentioned several times, there are several large garages requested tonight, and several in excess of 15 feet in height. And as I recall, how big is your lot, Jason? Those are pretty big lots.
I have almost a little over 4.3 acres.
Yeah.
This garage is going to be used solely for private usage, no commercial.
Correct, sir. Private collection.
Are there any other questions to be asked to the owner?
There's nobody, it's been posted and nobody has made any comments, correct?
No, I have not received any.
Are we ready to vote?
Wait a minute, how much higher is this garage going to be than the one it's being added onto?
Thanks, sir.
Close to twice. Goes from 1680 square feet to 2880.
Jason, can you hear us?
Yep.
What's the height of the current garage?
It's will be the 19 foot. It's the same height as the current garage.
Same height.
So if it's the same height, does he need the height variance?
Yeah, because it's still over 15. And since we don't know what was granted before, I think the best thing to do is to have a variance.
I don't have any more questions.
I have no more myself, Mr. Chairman.
Do I hear a motion?
Yes.
Can you make that motion?
I believe Jane, you made the motion.
Yes, I make a motion that we vote on that.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. Do I hear a roll call vote?
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Ofer,
Yes,
Mr. Voda,
Yes.
Mrs. Blake,
Yes.
Chairman Smith,
Yes.
motion passes. Okay, Jason, I'll be in touch with you to move forward with the permitting.
Thanks, John.
Okay.
Okay, zoning hearing board 21-08. The next,
Yeah, how you doing? My name is Matthew Heckler. Looking to build a ground level deck. The variance is because I'm on a corner lot, so it's what I thought was our side lot's actually considered a second front yard. The deck is intended to be 14 foot out from the house, and then 12 foot from the entrance of the house. And it'll be under 30 inches. It's going in place of a bush that was there. The bush itself was about 12 foot by 12 foot.
John, the usual questions. Posted?
Yes.
Okay, any comments?
No.
You want to brief us on your comments that you may have?
Yeah, the property is on Skyline, is located at a bend of the road. Therefore, it is a corner lot with 2 required front yards with 35-foot front yard setback requirements. And the home is built up to the required front yard setback, so anything that would extend into that would require a dimensional variance from the 35-foot required setback for one of the front yards on a corner lot.
How far is it from the side on both? How far is it from the front on both sides?
It would, from the front on both sides, on the one side, it would not be an issue at all. Coming towards the closest front yard where the variance would be required, it will require a
21?
the deck will come to within 14 feet from the roadway. Is that correct?
No,
No, I'm sorry, the front property line.
yeah, from the house out would be 14 foot. Sorry.
Yeah, it'll come out from the house out 14 foot. So a dimensional variance of 16 feet. Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry.
21.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Sorry. I forgot the other 5 there. Would be required from the front yard requirement. Then an additional dimensional variance would also be required for the side yard setback of 10 feet. And it looks as the deck would extend 4 feet into the required 10-foot side yard setback.
I'm not.
Because it looks like the house is built, the rear and the one side of the house that we would be dealing with, both appear to be built right at the setback requirements. And the deck will, if I'm not mistaken, will extend 4 feet past the corner of the home, correct?
That's correct.
Is there any roof over this deck?
No.
Okay. If I understood you correctly earlier, bear with me, but I believe you said that there's a shrub there.
There was. I already cut it out.
But the reason I'm asking this is I'm wondering if there's any restrictions to visibility.
No, there wouldn't be.
Sounds like the deck is going to be less restrictive than the shrub might have been.
That's correct. Yeah, the shrub was giant.
Then there's, it's not a true corner lot into the sense where it adjoins two streets. It's a corner lot simply because two of the yards adjoin the same street. It's on a bend on Skyview.
Yeah, I see your picture was very helpful, John.
Yeah, and if you look at the very last one in the packet, you can actually see the bush he's referring to in the location.
I do. I thank you. Yeah. Personally, I don't have a problem. I'd make a motion. We accept this request.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second Charlie.
Are there any other comments, public comments or anything?
No.
Doesn't appear to be. Okay, motion and second. Would you like a roll call vote, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Ofer,
Yes,
Mr. Voda,
Yes.
Mrs. Blake,
Yes.
Chairman Smith.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay,
Okay, we're getting close. Next one is the zoning hearing board 21-09.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I live at 316 Terrytown Drive, and I am thinking about purchasing the 2 acres next to me, which is a dead-end street. And I'm applying for some variances because the reason I want to purchase the property is to build a garage, a detached garage. So I guess my request is pretty similar to 05. I'm requesting a size variance for 2,000 square feet structure. I need a height variance as well. I'm not sure exactly how tall it's going to be, but the plans we have right now, the 16-foot ceiling in the tallest bay right now. So it's going to need to be a little bit higher than that, obviously, with just to keep the pitch correct than the alleged. And then our properties are not combined as of yet because I haven't purchased it yet. But once I purchase it, I plan on combining the lots. So but I would also need a variance for that.
What's your number on Henderson Road?
The number,
Yeah, I don't have it on the application.
it is, it's not a number because it's just an empty parcel. So it's a lot number.
oh, her address is 316 Terrytown.
I guess the same question comes up, John. Would it be or maybe this is to the applicant, would it be your intent to combine the two pieces of property once you purchase it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Was this not a piece of property, Rob, that was used a number of years ago when we had some subsidence on Henderson Road? And we used this as an emergency entrance in and out?
Yes, it was. The garage would actually be off of that because the road, some pieces of the road still exist from that. So the garage wouldn't affect that if you needed to use it again.
It would still be available for use?
Yes, absolutely.
I got you. Thank you.
Yeah, and the plan that was submitted that's recorded also shows a recorded cul-de-sac at the end of that road that obviously was never put in. If the other lots were ever built upon, and they never have been.
Yeah, I think as the applicant indicated, there's still some remnants of that emergency road, isn't there?
Yes, there, sir.
There is a gas easement and a gas metering site or a small enclosed gas facility right there. I did verify that the gas company did mark the location of their lines. And I believe this question is the applicant. You will be well outside of their required right of way for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been in touch
line.
with the company quite a bit. So 15 feet from the side lot and then 10 from the back. So we're well within that.
Okay.
John, this has been posted, I assume, on both roads?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Are there any comments one way or the other?
I have not received any.
Do you have any comments to the board, John, relative to?
Other than this, the address of the property that's in question is 0 Henderson Road. The parcel ID is provided as 997-L as in Lincoln -209. The property is located in an R2 district. The property is a vacant parcel of land that if I understand correctly, if the variance is granted for the garage, that the applicant will proceed with the purchase of the property and then construct a 2,000 square foot detached garage with a height of 20 feet. And the applicant, I did advise that from the beginning that the board has been known to put conditions of joining the property together on the granting of a variance such as this.
If I understood correctly, John, the applicant has indicated to us tonight that she plans on joining the two.
Yes,
Is that correct?
correct.
What's the garage going to be used for?
My fiance likes to work on cars. So he has a lift at his house. He wants to bring it here.
Lifting multiple vehicles, motorcycle.
Okay. And what utilities would you be planning on putting in the garage?
So ideally, I haven't decided on the heat method yet, but obviously I'd like to have water and sewage, at least in that building, electrical. So I'm not sure if I want gas or not in that building, but that's something I gotta figure out still.
We have sewage available there, John, I guess on Henderson, huh?
Yep.
Right to the back of the property.
They're actually all located where the cul-de-sac should be.
It stops there?
Yeah, all the utilities are they're ready for people to build.
Yeah, but is your garage going to be uphill from that, or? If I am following the drawing here, right, you're probably going to be downgrade from that cul-de-sac, are you not?
We're probably going to level it out a little bit so it's not so far down.
The sewage line goes to the back of all the properties. So the sewage line is parallels her property, across the back of her property and all the way down to Henderson. So it would be downstream of the garage. So yeah.
Gotcha, okay. So you're planning on having utilities in there would be sewage, water, and electricity?
Yes, sir. Possibly gas side to gas heated.
You'd like to have heating also?
Yes, sir.
John, what have you done in regard to this? Anything at all?
Well, I verified that, the location, and I saw that the gas company had marked their line, because there is a line that runs through that property in two locations. It comes in across the back of this parcel and into a valve, or I don't recall exact, but there's a fenced in enclosed gas company structure there. And then the line takes a 90-degree turn and comes between this lot, runs upon this property, but between this and the applicant's home and out to the street that way. And it was marked by the gas company and everything. And I did verify that this would not infringe upon that right away there.
Yeah, I assume water is also available there. It would probably end at the Terrytown, probably at your house on Terrytown, I would assume.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, do you mind if the solicitor gives us some thoughts as he envisions this?
Well, I think Larry can guess what my major thought is going to be, and that is that there be a requirement that the lots be combined within 1 year of granting the decision granting the variance. And the rest of it is in conformity with, let's put it similar to other variances we've granted tonight and at other times.
Thank you, Rob. I have no further questions, Mr. Solicitor, or Mr. Chairman, excuse me, getting tired.
Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Any other
Make a
comments?
motion.
Jane, do you want to make the motion? I'll make the motion if she does not.
And Larry, you're making the motion on the conditions stated, right?
Absolutely. And combining the lots has been stated. That's exactly right, Rob. Thank you.
Okay, John, are you ready for a roll call vote?
Did we have a second on that? I'm sorry.
I'll
We have-
second it.
Okay,
It was a combination job between
okay,
Dane and I, so whichever you like.
okay. Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Ofer,
Yes,
Mr. Voda,
Yes.
Mrs. Blake,
Yes,
Chairman Smith.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
I'll be in touch with you about the permitting process.
Perfect.
That
Thank
one-
you.
Well, I'll get you the information. Obviously, you got to get the property first.
Oh, yeah, of
One
course.
step at a time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, the next hearing is zoning hearing board number 21-10.
there you go.
This is in regard to a fence.
Angela, you want to try and unmute yourself?
Run your mouse on the lower left-hand corner. There you go.
Okay, could you hear me? Could you hear me?
I
Yes.
can't hear you.
Okay. Should I start?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I am looking to have a fence put up in my front. 422 Highland Drive. I had 4 years ago, I was looking to have a fence put up because I had 2 dogs that I wanted for the security and the safety of the dogs and whatever, but I gave it up. I lost the dogs. Right now I'm caring for my 7-year-old granddaughter. And I'm at the top of the hill where we came close to an accident last year. She rode her bike out of the yard and almost got hit. I would like to have a fence put up for her safety and her security. I am a senior citizen. I'm retired. I can't chase a young kid out of the yard. I also have a puppy and that would help with the puppy, but my main concern is my granddaughter at this point. I did have the survey and I did mark where I would like the fence. I went through everything. I don't know if I even drew on the paper where I would like the fence, erected if possible. I would even come back further from my line if I was able to do this. It's mainly for the security. When she almost got hit last year, it was awful. But being at the very top of the hill, a car coming up either side of the hill cannot see top of the hill. There is about 2 doors down a beware there's children sign. It's not by my property though. So I really would like this for the safety and security. I can't, like I said, I'm by myself. I can't chase a 7-year-old if she were to run out of the yard, which she has already. She's chased the puppy out of the yard a few times. I've just been lucky that there has been no accident. This is almost like a preventive measure, just to prevent something from happening. But I'm willing to answer any questions. Pardon me?
What kind of fence is it going to be?
It would be a vinyl fence, 6-foot vinyl fence. I'm pretty desperate now. I mean, I'm open to any suggestions here. But like I said, there's no way I could, being by myself, avoid something terrible happening if she were to run into the yard or chase the dog. Even when there's other children in the yard, I'm nervous because the other children aren't aware of the dangers on this road.
Just
So it's
a curious question.
sorry.
Why so high? Why 6 foot?
I didn't know because they said it's the highest I could go, 6 foot. I don't know. I mean, it's entirely up to,
No,
to you all to help me
The,
decide.
the maximum permitted height is 6 feet. You
Okay,
can, you can go lower than 6 foot. I mean, you can go 3 foot, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5. But the maximum allowable foot fence height within that zoning district is 6 foot.
so would there be a problem with the 6 foot?
Well,
That's not for me to, that's not. I'll turn that one over to the
No,
board.
you know what? Like I said, I'm doing this on my own. I'm doing this by myself. There's nobody here
That's okay.
to, speak for me.
Let me ask you, when you say vinyl fence, is it like a chain link fence?
No, it's not a chain link fence.
Would this be similar to the fence that encloses the backyard?
No, not at all. The fence that encloses the backyard, you can't see. Everything's closed off. You can't see the other side. This is completely open.
So would this be like a vinyl picket fence?
Yes, pretty much that.
Okay,
No chain link. I don't want the chain link fence.
but there would be opening between the slats of the fencing. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
There would be one way to get in. It would be right when you come out of my house to the left. There'll be a door, a gate to get out of the yard, put it that way. There won't be any other gate to get out of the yard. Just like I said, for security reasons, I want just the gate where it's at, where I'd like it coming out of my house.
Okay, and to clarify, you're requesting to build up to your front property line, which is also the right-of-way line for the roadway?
Yes, I just had the survey done and that's what they sent me.
Okay.
John, I guess that would have to be like 1 foot inside that property line.
Well, no, the house is built. The front of the house sits at the required 35-foot setback.
Okay.
So anything that would extend, any fence that would extend past the front of the house would require a variance from the front yard requirement. And the request is to extend the fence, unless, correct me if I'm wrong, but extend the fence from the corner where it meets an existing fence down the property line that would sit in from the property line up to the front property line, across the front property line, and then down along the
Driveway.
front yard before a slope down to the driveway, correct?
Right, correct.
Any visibility issues, John, that you would see?
I think the largest visibility issue with the bend on the road, it would not really cause much of a traffic visibility issue. It could possibly cause some visibility issues with the applicant's driveway and possibly with the a neighboring driveway. Depending upon how far back, there would be the front property lines along this road do end at the right-of-way line. So it's hard to say for sure without the fence being there.
The only thing that's getting my attention, and I'm trying to get my arms around a good comment here, is the 6 foot high. It seems pretty high there. I don't want to design a fence for her, but for Mrs. DeBattista, but it just seems.
I could have it lower. I mean, that would even save me money, honestly, but
I don't want to.
that would kind of help.
Yeah, it just, no, I want to, whatever you want to do, you want to address, but I'm trying to get my arms around what this will look like. And it seems rather high. Even the picket fence type, John, as you described, is pretty.
Yeah, and I haven't seen a 6 foot high vinyl fence with open slats, like a picket, you know what I mean?
I haven't either.
I haven't seen that in 6 foot. I've only seen the 6 foot in the stockade type.
That's where I'm.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, go right ahead.
I do have pictures of the fence. But of course I can't show them to you now. I could email them and show you what the fence would look like if that's what you'd like. And as far as the height goes, that's entirely up to you. I mean, what you're willing to give me here.
Give me an idea what that fence, give me, if you can, with your description, because you've been pretty clear tonight so far. Could you give us?
Me?
Yeah, your own words, if you would. Does it look like?
Okay. It's vinyl.
Go ahead.
It looks like a picket fence. Yes, it's vinyl. Looks like a picket fence. I can't tell how far apart the slats are, but it's, you know, like I said, I could email John a picture tomorrow. It's just every time I try to get on my phone and bring it up on my phone, I'm not good with phone. I'm not good with technology. I have problems getting the picture on my phone, but I could have somebody help me here.
Do you see the distance between the slats? Do you see that equal to about the width of the slats?
You know what? My daughter's here. If you could give me a second, she might be able to bring it up. Here.
Can anybody else help me here to, like I said, this, for a front yard fence, you know, it just seems rather high for a front yard fence. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in the front yard. I've seen them usually like John described, you know, John, 3 feet, maybe 4 at the most, but 3.5 feet maybe.
4 feet for 6 is way too high for that. I didn't know that. Yeah, you know what? I didn't even realize it's actually the reason I got the idea. My brother has a 6-foot fence. And I love it's great. It looks wonderful. But when I think about it, his house is he has like a 3-story house. So it doesn't look as big in his yard as it would look in my yard, because of course my house does not have that height to it. I'd like to go 5 foot if I'm able to.
What does does your front yard slope down toward the street at all, or is it level with the street, or what?
No, it goes up to the street, and that's where the problem is. Where my street is, where it goes up to the street, is at the very top of the hill. So traffic coming up either the left side of the hill or the right side of the hill you can't see until you're actually up here.
So it's kind of a blind spot. You're kind of down in a valley, a little bit down in a valley.
I am, but the road is up where there's like I said, both cars come up either side, cannot see anybody until it might be too late.
What I believe what Mr. Voda is trying to clarify is the road sits higher, slightly higher than your front yard?
Oh, yes, it does.
Is that what you were looking for, Mr. Voda?
Yes, John, thank you very much. And the only comment I'd have to that just makes that fence, that 6-foot fence, look that much higher.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with that. I just have to, look at getting a fence not as high. And like I said, relatively, the other fence I saw, it would look smaller because the house was so much bigger. My house is not that much bigger. So actually putting a fence out here that high it probably would pretty much come up to my window in the living room. So yeah, that's a good, something good to consider. And I would consider it maybe 5 foot or less. 6 foot would definitely too big.
Have you ever noticed the fence on 48 right down from Simpson House the lady put in?
No, I usually don't go that way. What is it? Did you pick that up?
That's, I think you're referring to, it's a post fence with it's not chicken wire, but it's the larger square wire and you almost can't see. Is that what you're referring to?
That's what I'm referring
Mr.
to.
Kelly?
No, trying to visualize it. It's the one that you want put up because of the same situation.
Oh, okay, last about a year ago.
Last house down on the left, John.
Yes, right before the substation there.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that fence, what is that fence, John? Was that about 30 inches or so?
No, that's a 4-foot fence.
Is that 4? Is that high?
Yeah, it's a 4-foot fence, but I know her yard, it doesn't look very tall at all because her yard really sits down below 48 right there.
Mhm. She had similar situations, similar conditions. I don't know, I don't want to design the fence for the young lady here this evening, but I think 6 foot 6 foot high, she'd probably not be too happy with.
I don't think.
Well,
How high do I think?
Isn't there a variance on fence in front yards for height, John?
Well, no, fences in the front, required front yard setback are prohibited. So if any variance is granted, the board could put any height requirement on it. The maximum permitted height of a fence within a residential district is 6 foot. Does that answer your question?
Mine?
No, I'm talking to Mr. Kelly.
Yeah. I mean, over the years, I know we've had fences where they've come from the backyard to the front of the house at 6 foot, then we've dropped them down going on out further. And I think we used to say no more than 4 foot high near the driveway so that the neighbor could get out, it wouldn't obstruct the view.
I believe that would probably be just a condition on any variance that would, if a variance would be granted, would be a condition placed upon that, I believe. Now, I know I have received a phone call with some concerns about this, the fence, and I believe there's, I see at least one person I believe has raised his hand here that has a comment. Is that correct?
Yes, Rich.
Okay.
I'm a neighbor. I'm 2 doors up. I live on Highland Drive. Name's Rich Deal. I object to any fence of any height that would be a variance to the ordinance of a 30-foot frontage in this residential neighborhood. There are no fences in Highland Meadows. The Howell plan, no fences in the front yard. The ordinance is there for a reason, and I'm here for a reason. It's a residential neighborhood, and I think that it would just detract from the value of the home, and in turn, detract from the value of my home. There's a reason why we have green front yards and no sidewalks, and I'd like it to stay that way. So any fence of any height to that variance, please put me on record as I object.
And I think we have somebody else that has a comment here. Thomas.
Yes, this is Tom Gossman. I live right across the street from that address. I'm at 421 Highland, and I agree with everything with Rich said. I just don't. I object to having the fence built. Pardon me?
Could I have your name again, sir?
Tom Gossman.
Gothman?
Yeah, Gossman.
Okay.
It's going to depreciate the value of the properties around us.
Any others, John?
Yeah, I see a third one here by the name of Aaron. If you want
Yes,
to
can you hear
unmute
me?
yourself. Okay, yes, okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, I don't have video on. I work at a hospital, so due to HIPAA violations, I can't have any video going.
Okay, if
But,
you could just say and spell your name for the court reporter, please.
Yes, it is Aaron, Aaron. My last name is Torok, Torok. I object to the fence as well. I live at 420. I'm her direct neighbor. If she puts that fence up, I will not be able to get out of my driveway. I will not be able to see the street till I'm physically, my car is 3/4 of the way out in the street. Also, I have 2 small children that run around in my yard. If her fence is obscuring any view of a car coming up the hill and one of my children would run out into the street, are my kids supposed to get hit by a car because the diminished field of view of the driver coming up the road? Those are concerns that I have. And also I agree with the property value as well.
Okay, could I have your name again too?
It is Aaron, Aaron, Torok, Torok.
And you say you wouldn't be able to see the street if this fence were erected?
Correct. I am her neighbor. If you're looking at her house, I'm the neighbor to the left. And I have a split level and my garages go underneath my house. And the house is already sitting a decent amount lower than the road itself. And then the garages go under the house. So I'm coming up like a fairly decent grade. And people would not be able to see me, or I wouldn't be able to see anybody till actually my driver's side window would be all the way out into the street. At that point, it's too late.
Anything else, John?
Let me see. Does anybody else that's in attendance have a comment? If you want to either raise your hand or unmute yourself or let us know somehow.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, you
Sandra.
may still make a comment.
The whole reason I would like this fence is for security for my granddaughter. Like I said, I'm 66 years old. I cannot chase my granddaughter off the road. If she were to get into the road, there's no way that I'd be able to grab her. It's to keep her in. I'm not keeping anybody out. I'm keeping her in my yard. I mean, it's for, like I said, safety and security of her. Last year, she did almost get hit by a car. She was coming down across the road, down the driveway, and I was sitting out. Thank goodness I was sitting out on a porch, by my front door, and she came down and the car almost hit her, and that kind of set this off for me needing something there for her. I'm by myself. I don't have anybody to chase her. That set it off, and that was a year ago. And it's just, as the weather's changing and she's getting older and she wants to be down at the neighbors and, she wants to ride her bike. There's rules that she has to follow. And some of these rules are, you're not going to run into the road if you see your friend or whatever. Just where my house is situated is just a bad part. It's at the top of a hill where you can't see down, you can't see up exactly what's on that hill until you get up there.
Do you have any
And
excuse me, do you have any backyard to use?
Yeah, I do have a backyard. I have a deck. That's it.
I'll tell you, the reason I'm not trying to take a side either way here. I'm trying to sort out in my own mind a concern that I'm still struggling with. And whether the fence is a 4-foot fence or a 6-foot fence, it looks to me, if you're backing out of your driveway, you're going to suffer from the same problem that the other gentleman explained. He kind of answered part of my question. The gentleman to the left of your house has the same problem as you do, backing out your driveway. You're going to be pretty far into the street before you get visibility of the traffic that's going on that street.
That is possible if I had the post fence, but if I decided on a chain link fence, I don't believe would really block anything. Well,
Like I say, I'm just looking at the drawing here and the sketch, and I'm struggling with it personally because a 6-foot fence or a 4-foot fence that's pretty high, in my mind, for visibility. You know, if I were backing out of your driveway, it's concerning me if, from what I see now, that you're pretty well into the street, especially with these newer cars. You're pretty well into the street before you can see the traffic.
The fence would be actually 10 feet, 10 feet off the road or 15 feet off the road because of when I had it surveyed, my property is actually further back than I believed it would be.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it just, cars are what, about 15, 16 feet long. I mean, it's definitely giving you an issue that maybe you need to think about too, because it's pretty close. The reason I ask is on the drawing that you've provided to me here through John is the backyard available for you at all? I can't tell from the drawing. It looks like there might be a structure of some kind back there.
A deck.
Mr. Voda, if you look on, there should be in my report a aerial image.
I got that one, John. That's what I'm looking at. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's since that last one last year, a deck was added on from the back of the house towards the pool.
Okay, so that big thing I see in the back there is a pool.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that pool, I guess, is fenced in or whatever.
Yes.
Okay. Is that yard use is available for you to use?
For me?
Yeah.
No, you walk out onto the yard. You have about 4 foot, 5 foot, and then you go onto the deck.
Okay.
I actually had the deck built there because there was a hillside.
I got you. Okay. I'm just trying to look at options for you. Just
right. I understand.
I just personally have a concern. I really do with your safety when you back out of your driveway with a fence that's going to be 4 to 6 feet high.
What's the possibility of a 3 or 4 at maximum foot fence? Chain link. I mean, that's probably the most visible to see through.
I don't know if we still have some comments or not. Thomas, do you have another comment, or is your hand still just up? It wasn't cleared. I'm not sure.
No, I have no other comments. Just that I agree with her. There's a safety issue on this hill with cars coming up and down the street. But when my daughter was there, we never let her ride on the street. We took her down to St. Michael's Church and let her ride down there is where we did, because we felt it was too dangerous on this street. And that's one reason why. The other thing is that's all I have to say.
Okay, and I see Aaron, I don't know if you have any other comment or if it's just.
Yeah, I do. And I agree with Tom as well. I take my 2 children. We go down. There's church parking lots. There's one you can walk to at the end of Highland. There's multiple places to go. Her granddaughter's not over there all the time. It's here and there. I don't know why that's, but again, I don't see why my family should be put into jeopardy. It's kind of like her reason for putting the fence in for her is causing the exact thing that she's trying to avoid for her family, but it's causing it towards mine. And it's just not going to be safe for my family.
Okay.
Can I comment? My granddaughter does live with me. She's with me all the time. She goes to school here at Central. Yeah, she is here all the time. I understand. I do understand. The main thing I understand is they're worried about the property value going down because of the fence. And I do understand that, and I consider that myself. But like I said, they take their children down. They were able to. I'm 66 years old. It's hard for me to get around, let alone, walking down. I mean, taking her to it's tough. I just never thought I'd be a mother at this age. It's really tough. It was different, 30 years ago, 40 years ago when I was raising my own children. But I do understand, and I appreciate that they came forth and they were honest enough to say that. I mean, they had every right, and I appreciate it.
Rich, do you have anything else? I see the hands up, or it may just not have been cleared.
No, I keep hearing reiterations on height. Any fence of any type, of any height, is gonna violate the variance. If this variance is accepted, you're gonna set a precedence. It's gonna snowball. It has very good potential to snowball. And her granddaughter is not gonna be old or young forever. And I've lived on this street for over 20 years, I think. And yeah, there are some speeders, so to speak, but it's not the solution to this problem. And I don't think our property value should suffer because of it. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Just before we move back to the board, anybody else that's in attendance have any comments or anything? Okay, I don't see any other comments. I'll turn it back over to the board there.
That's a tough one. Do I hear a motion? On this case? We need a motion. Yay or nay?
I make a motion, we don't grant the variance.
Do I hear a second?
I would have to second that motion for several reasons.
You have a motion and a second.
Second.
Any board comments before I do roll call? Okay. Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
No,
By the way-
I'm sorry. This is a motion to deny the variance. Sorry.
Right.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes, deny the variance.
Mr. Ofer,
Yes,
Mr. Voda,
Yes.
Mrs. Blake,
Yes.
Chairman Smith.
Yes.
Motion passes to deny the variance for the fence within the required front yard.
Okay, I do thank you though, and I thank everybody for their honesty.
I'd like to add something, if I could.
Yes.
Is there a possibility that a speed bump could be put in that neighborhood that would help with the safety issue? John, do you know if
That would have to be brought up before the Board of Commissioners, and I don't know if that could cause some issues with the plowing.
I think there may be some legal requirements on that too. Somebody ought to ask the solicitor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think more
I'm not saying
research
it's
would definitely be
impossible.
required on
I'm not
that.
saying don't do it, but I think PennDOT might have some regulations on that.
Okay. Well, it's just a thought that, that being an issue of safety for this lady and also her neighbor's children.
Yeah, you certainly could ask for better enforcement of the existing speed regulations. You're certainly welcome to ask the commissioners for that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess this is voted down then.
Thank you, Angela.
Well, thank you very much also.
Okay. Have a good
And
evening.
You too, thanks. Bye-bye.
It's a tough one, guys.
Mhm.
Okay, next case will be zoning board hearing 21-11. It also involves a fence.
Hi, I'm Joshua Welker. I am proposing a fence on 401 Rothy Drive. It's in Oak Hill. It will be a 6-foot privacy fence, wooden, all wood materials, 2x4s, 4x4s, and wooden slats. This fence would go 30 feet out from the side of the house, which would technically be a front yard, quote unquote, because it's a corner lot. It would be going towards Glenwood Drive, and then it would make a 90-degree turn, go 38 feet towards the backyard. And that would be a foot off the property line on the back side of the house. And then it would go it would make another right turn, 90 degrees, and go 71 feet and hook into, well, basically tie into the shed on the back right of the house. And then I'd have another 14 feet coming off the shed, straight out, 1 foot off the property line. And I would have a gate that would tie into the house on the other side of the house.
What's the purpose of the fence?
Purposes of the fence is I have a German Shepherd, Belgian Malinois mix. He needs to run around, and I do take him to dog parks a lot. But it would be nice to have a place where I could just let him run and not have to worry about him. And my neighbor at, I believe it's 104 Glenwood, has a German Shepherd as well, that they have him off leash quite a bit.
Did you say off leash? Did you say off leash?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Which he's very, very well behaved, very well trained. They play fetch with him in their backyard, which is basically connecting to my backyard. So this fence would really mitigate any issues between dogs. A lot of people see my dog as a mean breed, which he's the most lovable dog in the world. But I feel like it would mitigate people being afraid of my dog when they're walking down the street and they look into my yard and I have him out on a leash and he just wants to say hi, but they see him as an aggressive dog, which he is not.
Have you had some issues?
I have not.
How about with the neighbor where the other dog is?
One issue with the neighbor dog, my pap actually had my dog out on a leash in the yard that runs along Glenwood Drive, and the neighbor dog busted through their front door, their screen door, and attacked my dog once. And since then, nothing has happened. I mean, nobody could have done anything about it, but I believe there's bad blood, a little bit of bad blood there.
Is that a swimming pool that you show there on the drawing that you've given us?
Yes, sir.
Would the fence be right off the property line?
Yes, it would be a foot off the property line on the backyard, and if you're looking at the house to the right, it would be a foot off. Now, everywhere else on I don't know if you guys have drawings, the 38-foot section would be 6.5 feet off of the utility pole that is the telephone pole that is in my yard.
And how far would that be from your property line on that side?
That would be, I believe it's 6 feet from the property line on that side. And then the section where it starts, that it comes off of the house, it is 61 feet from the fence to the road. So there should be no visibility issues whatsoever with that intersection between Glenwood and Rothy.
Okay, so you're 6 feet off the property line on Glenwood Drive?
Yes, sir. And in turn, that would make it, I believe there's a 10-foot right of way there. So it would make it 16 feet off the roadway, off of Glenwood.
You're coming out 30 feet from the side of the house you have?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you would be 5 feet in from your property line.
Yes.
Because your house pretty much sits at the required setback of 35 feet.
Okay. So yes, it would be 5 feet from the property line on the, if you're looking at the house, the left side.
That's Glenwood.
Yes.
Correct.
And is that the only place we need a variance?
Yes, it would not, the house is a corner lot with the 2 front yards. The house is built right at the required setbacks. The proposed fence would not enter into the front yard requirement of
On Rothy
Drive. It would only enter the front yard requirement on Glenwood Drive.
So the only variance that we're looking for, John, if I understand it right, is off of Rothy, or off of Glenwood.
Correct. It would be off of Glenwood Drive. And if I understand correctly, it would be from, the fence would come from basically the center of the house out.
Yes. So there is utility meters on the side of the house. So it would be set back from those meters. So those meters would not be fenced in.
If I'm interpreting it right, guys, stay with me, but I think the rest of the fence looks like it's within the requirements.
The portion of the fence that would run along both side yard requirements are sitting 1 foot in from the property line, so they are well within the zoning requirements. It's simply where the proposed fence would cross the required setback and extend into the required front yard on Glenwood.
John, this was posted, I assume?
Yes.
Anybody that wants to speak for or against it?
Let me see. Does anyone have any comments? Please let us know. Unmute yourself, raise your hand. It does not appear to be any.
Do you have any comments for us, John, relative to your write-up?
Just that it's a side, it's a corner lot with 2 required front yards, and where the house was built, the required, the 2 side yards are relatively small, and according to everything provided by the applicant, the fence would not extend into the front yard requirement for Rothy Drive, which could cause a visibility issue at the intersection. It's sitting well back before the intersection. And if I recall, there's a slight slope there, isn't there?
Very slight.
Yeah, I'm thinking there, but there's just a slight gradual change right there.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I have no questions.
Oh, I have a question. You're Joshua Welker.
Yes, sir.
Jeannie Welker applied. Now,
Yes.
who's that?
That's my mother. I'm basically building the fence. She is currently in the process of moving into an apartment, and I will be staying here and looking over the house. And obviously I have my dog here.
But
and
she's
then-
the applicant and she's the owner.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I have her here. She's just with the dog.
Okay.
Yeah, I do know when I was approached about requiring a fence. She's the one who came up and saw me. I
Yes.
believe.
Sounds
Yes.
like the dog had a comment.
Hello, I'm sorry. Hi.
I could do it. You could talk.
Hello, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, this is the property owner.
Okay.
Did anybody have any questions for her?
No, but it's got my dog.
Sorry.
Rob, did you have any follow-up to your question?
No, I just wanted to make clear who the applicant and owner was.
Okay.
Jeannie's the applicant, Jeannie's the owner, the variance would be in her name.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are we ready to make a motion?
Also,
Yeah. Let's make that motion.
I make the motion for the variance.
Do I have a second?
Yes, I'll second the motion.
Okay. John?
Roll call. Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Ofer,
Yes.
Mr. Voda,
Yes.
Mrs. Blake,
Yes.
Chairman Smith.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. This is the one we were looking for. Zoning Board 21-12.
My name is Joe Castanola, 1611 Beachview. Want to build a single residential house on top of a, well, my sister had bought the property in 2016. She had come before the zoning board to get a variance building in a flood zone. And she got that, she had a meeting in 2018. She was going to build a log cabin house, but when she found out it had to be 10 feet up in the air, she lost interest and bought a house up on Old Hills. So she gifted the property to me. And I think you have the drawings and a picture of what we want to build on that property.
Okay, now, you live in Turtle Creek,
Yes, I do.
but you're going to own this property on Beachview Street?
I own the property on Beachview Street. What we're doing is we're going to build like a retirement home for ourselves. We're going to sell the house in Turtle Creek. Everything is the same for what my sister had presented to the 2018. The only thing that changed is she was putting a log cabin house 10 feet up in the air, and that's why she lost interest in it. It just didn't look right. What I'm going for is something of a low rise, contemporary modern riverfront house. The first floor would be the garage level. Nothing would be in there except parking the cars and maybe a little picnic table, because I have a barn door facing the river with a little patio. We have an outside staircase to get to the living quarters. And it's just going to be an open concept living area with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, with a deck looking out at the river. She originally, when she bought the house, it had a modular unit, a double wide. Well, first it was just a regular mobile home, and the previous owner made it a double wide. She bought it thinking that she would be able to remodel the double wide, but it just wasn't able to be refurbished because of the style of construction. So that's when she decided to put a log cabin home on the property But then she found out, like I said, it had to be up in the air, and that's when she lost interest in it. So it's already been before the board. All I have done is increase the footprint 3 feet in 2 directions, 3 feet toward the river and 3 feet to my neighbor's property. And that's only because the architect that designed it for her did not work with modular units. So now it's 28 by 52, which works to plywood, is pretty much what it is. She had it at 20, I think it was 25 by 49, which is an odd size footprint.
Now, the only one thing I have here, the height of the block wall, or
Yes.
the foundation wall, will be the same height that she had proposed?
Yeah, because I have to be above the
Base flood elevate, correct?
764. I'll be actually at 766. I'm not going to use concrete block. I'm going to use poured concrete with a brick veneer simulated finish for now. I own a stone
Okay.
company in Little Boston, and maybe down the road I'll face it with stone. But right now I'm going to use a simulated like brick veneer on the concrete.
Okay. Yeah, I know one thing that I would just need that I would ask that you would provide me as well is, you know, if the variance is granted, I will just need the specifications for the flood vent that you will use.
Yes, that's correct.
And also I will need a elevation certificate.
That's correct.
Yes.
I think I may already have that, or Chris may have submitted.
She had one under hers, but just you may want to get another one just to make sure with your elevations are set.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, and the variance is required on this, again, because it is in an identified zone AE floodplain. And the approved, when Christine Thomas applied for the variance and it was granted, I requested that he would come back before the zoning hearing board for a new variance because the approved structure that was approved at the time is not being built, and another structure is being built. So under the requirements for the floodplain ordinance, new construction in a floodplain would require a variance, and the requirements are being met. I will just have to verify the engineered flood vent information once he provides that with me. Everything else within the floodplain requirements are being met, that the structure is elevated. The first floor is above the base flood elevation. There is no basement. It is simply a lower level that will accommodate parking and storage only with no utilities. And he's even gone one step further that there will be no interior access to the lower level, correct? It's all going to be exterior.
That's correct.
Do we have any questions from the board for me?
No.
Posted, John, I assume, huh?
Yes. I did receive one phone call from a gentleman. He didn't say whether he was in favor or opposed. He was simply concerned that a new house being constructed here may raise his property tax.
So he's objecting to his property being more valuable.
Well, you could look at it that way. Do we have any comments from anybody in attendance? If you want to unmute yourself or signal us in somehow, raise your hand or send us a text or a chat. I will take that as no comments.
The only comment I will make is I lived by the river when I was a kid until I got married and went through a number of floods. So I moved to the top of the hill so I wouldn't get flooded.
Charlie, I've worked along the river I've been over there since 1995 under the Boston Bridge. And I've only had water in my plant 1 year, which was in 1996. And it backed up in and it went right out. So I'm thinking, somebody's on my side and I'll be able to do it at Blythedale.
I hope it is that way for you, believe me. I just had a remembrance of getting flooded out a number of times.
Yeah,
But we were low.
unfortunately, with the elevation and the proposed building, if
He
it
should
does
be
flood,
safe.
the biggest thing he's gonna have to do is get out the power washer and clean the walls.
Yes.
Everything's going to be hardscape downstairs.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion, we grant the variance.
Second,
I second it.
roll call, John?
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Ofer,
Yes,
Mr. Voda,
Yes.
Mrs. Blake,
Yes.
Chairman Smith.
Yes.
Motion granted.
Okay, thank you, guys.
And okay, I'll be in touch with you with the as we move forward with this.
Okay, and I'll get back to you on that other stuff. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
John, you want 2 minutes overtime?
Hey, we got through it.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Right. Is everybody gone?
No, we're here.
I think that I just need a motion to adjourn.
I was making that motion. I'll maybe do adjourn.
I'll second.
Second.
Go ahead.
Never have a problem getting that motion. All in favor?
26th, right?
Aye.
Yes, and the next meeting is May 26th, and the motion to adjourn has passed and carried, so meeting was adjourned.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Everybody.
Night, everyone.
Nice to see you.
Be safe.
See y'all.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome. Thanks, Kim.